Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome to the grid at Interlagos. I'm starting P12 of 27 drivers and I'm determined to get a bit more aggressive in my driving this season. Today that's going to mean getting my elbows out and challenging for plenty of overtakes if I've got any chance of getting into the top 5. It's a tall order, can I do it? Let's find out. Getting ready for the lights then, and at this stage I'm really just trying to think about how I'm going to navigate turns 1, 2 and 3 safely here. We're getting ready to go green and we're underway, and actually I was slightly sluggish off the start and you can see cars behind me and on the outside potentially getting away there a little bit quicker, but I'm going to have the advantage as long as I can spot my braking of the inside line. I need to hug this tight, going side by side through the S's, very difficult indeed, and one driver has lost it already and that looks like the pole sitter. Jonathan Moza off there on the left hand side, another driver off on the right hand side. We manage to just about get through without getting collected in any of those accidents, and we've been able to gain some positions in the process. I'm going to cover off the inside line here. A driver trying to dive around the outside. There's no grip, no speed around the outside on lap 1 with cold tyres and cold brakes, so we're able to hold the position. I really didn't want to leave the door open there on the inside line. I've seen too many other races this week where drivers have dive bombed down the inside and either caused an accident or taken the position. We're into the middle part of this lap then, and we are following Anthony Lundsen through the very tricky technical section of corners here. It's such a demanding circuit at Interlagos. One corner flows into the next, and if you're offline or if you lose a little bit of time in the braking zone, you can very quickly get swamped by drivers all around you. But we're looking like we're going to get through to the end of this lap in one piece, trailing Lundsen up ahead by 0.4 seconds, and I think we're up into 8th position, so we've gained 4 spots off the start just by keeping our nose clean, by being nice and cautious through those opening turns and taking avoiding action. And here's exactly why we had to take avoiding action. And it was indeed the pole sitter Jonathan Moza who actually gets away cleanly, and I wondered whether he'd been tagged into a spin, but actually just loses the car, pushing too hard, holds the brakes nicely, but all the other drivers have to take avoiding action. One of those was Jack White in the Aston Martin liveried car. He then collides with Sam Halliday, and wow, another driver gets launched. That's Damon McDonald. Look at it here from his on board. He just takes the wrong option in terms of how to avoid the spinning driver up ahead, and that is him into the barrier. We rejoin then just a couple of moments later as we're about to cross the start finish line and get ourselves onto lap 2 of this race. I'm having to cover off to the inside because I'm coming under pressure from behind from Broca, but we've managed to stave him off there into T1. But look up ahead, there's a gaggle of 4-5 cars all concertinaing together. We're actually going to make 2 spaces up as we come onto the back straight here because we were able to get a better run out of the S's. I'm going to take to the racing line, gamble that we won't see a dive down the inside. We're able to hold the position, so I think now I'm up into 6th position, but the action has not stopped. Look up ahead and you're going to see a big shove from Kunitomo on Perat. He's now off onto the grass. We take a gamble that he's not going to spear back onto the circuit, and that is another place gained there, so potentially I'm up into 5th place, and more importantly I can see the podium right up ahead of me, and yes, there's a replay of Kunimoto just pushing Perat out onto the grass. He manages to hold the car very nicely, safely rejoins and manages to get back into the top 10. On to lap 3 then, and we're closing in on Kunitomo up ahead. We are indeed now up into 5th position. We started in 12th, remember, so we've gained 7 spots in the opening couple of laps, and I'm piling the pressure on Kunitomo up ahead, trying to force a mistake here as we come into the middle section of the lap. Nothing doing there, but I'm going to try and keep the pressure on as we get into this very tight snaking section. The car coming up to temperature now, it's feeling a little bit more compliant, but it's really important throughout this early phase of the race that I don't slide the car too much. All of these corners are off camber, they're all difficult, and if you push too hard through them, then you'll slide the car, you'll overheat the tyres, and you'll pay a big price for that later on in the race. So I am just being a little bit measured in my inputs to try and make sure that I don't light up the tyres and cost myself pace towards the end of this race. But we're on to the big climb up to the start finish straight once again then. We've dropped a little bit back from Kunitomo, who looks like he's in the slipstream of Lundsen and is going to challenge for third place here, heading into T1. They're side by side. We're going to cover off the inside because, again, Verbrugge behind is looking like he's going to put some pressure on. Oh, a lock up there from Kunitomo, but he holds the position. He's now up into third position, and Lundsen is the driver directly ahead of us. But here it is on replay then. A nice move this from Kunitomo down the inside, given plenty of room by Lundsen, and he's able to make the move before he gets to the apex really, and that is him up into third place. On to lap 4 then, and you can see we're trying to put the pressure on to Lundsen in order to get up into 4th position. He himself has not given up, trying to challenge Kunitomo back for 3rd, but we come very close there to colliding with Lundsen, and that might give Verbrugge a chance behind to get alongside me. He's on my outside. I'm going to have the high ground for the right hander as long as I spot my braking, keep the car nice and tidy. I'm able to hold him off, but the pressure would keep coming. We're on to lap 5 now then, and again I'm trying to force a mistake from Lundsen. We've momentarily dropped Verbrugge by about 0.6 seconds, but we are right on the rear wing of Anthony Lundsen up ahead. All the while, Taiki Kunitomo is streaking away in 3rd position. No opportunity to get down the inside of Lundsen there, but you can see, I think, at this stage of the race, I've got more pace here. So I am going to have to try and force a move quite soon, perhaps into T1 on the next lap. But look at that, Lundsen's got in deep and we might well get collected. Oh, we just about avoid it. That was super close there, as Lundsen got it all wrong on the curbing on the outside. I couldn't really change my line at that point. I was just able to get out of his way, but that slowed us down considerably, and we're going to be under pressure from Verbrugge coming into T1 here. We crossed the start finish line to get onto the next lap. You can see in my rear view mirror Verbrugge making a move around the outside, but he thinks better of it, and we're able to hold the apex. But I was slower through the S's there because I was offline, and that's going to put me at a disadvantage down the next straight. So once again I'm going to have to try and take a defensive line. I'm coming under significant pressure here. I'm going to be pinched to the apex as we head into the left-hander, into the braking zone here, and yes, you can see Verbrugge around my outside. We're side by side through the middle of the corner and on exit, but he will have the inside line as we climb the hill here into the right-hander. Am I able to hold it around the outside? Oh, I'm not. He's going to squeeze me out. So no sooner had we taken 4th position from Lundsen than I've lost it to Verbrugge. We close right in on his rear wing here, coming into the snaking section in the middle of the lap, but I'm not close enough to get alongside and get that position back. Let's take a look at it on replay then. You can see he's tucked nicely into my slipstream. I've had to go defensive, and at this stage I'm just conscious that I don't want to run wide into him. I'm perhaps just a little bit too cautious there, giving him too much room. He goes all the way off track, so he got in a little bit heavy into that corner. We're side by side on exit, and unfortunately that gives him the advantage into the next corner. On to lap 6 then, and we're sticking very, very close to Verbrugge here. I'm going to be into his slipstream and will have a run on him into T1 here. I've just got to get my timing right and make sure it's a clean pass in what is a very awkward corner. You can see then he might be shaping to the inside. Is he going to stick to the racing line? It looks like he's sticking to the racing line, so we're going to pull to the inside here. I'll be compromised on my speed through the corner because I've got to get the car turned in. Oh, and look at that. I understeer terribly. Thankfully, he managed to not go around my outside there, otherwise that would have gotten very tricky. Instead, he was looking for the switchback. He didn't manage it through the S's, but he's got a much better run than me, and you can see now I'm stuck on the racing line. Verbrugge's going to have the inside here into the left-hander. I'm going to have to try and hang it around the outside just as he did when he passed me on the previous lap. I'm up on the curbing, and look at that, he's just managed to carry more speed than I could through the corner. I'm again going to try and just dummy to the inside, see if I can put him offline, but unfortunately he sees that coming. He's wise to it and he holds the position. But this is phenomenal racing here. Really, really enjoyable battle with Verbrugge. Nice and clean, trading positions back and forward, and unfortunately at the moment he's got the advantage. I haven't been able to get past him and hold the position through the first part of the lap. All the while we're losing time to the drivers behind, so I'm going to have to get something done here at some stage quite soon. Otherwise we could find ourselves in a 3 or 4 or 5 car battle for 4th position. We're up the hill once again then. I'm in his slipstream once again, so I'm going to have to just try and think about maybe doing something different this time around. I'm actually not going to go for the full send into T1. I'm going to hang back just a little bit, and actually I'm helped a little bit by the fact that he's gone to the inside this time. So I'm going to go to the outside because I don't want to lose any pace, but I'm actually just going to hang back a little bit. I'm going to give him the inside line. I'm going to try and cut underneath, and at a minimum I'm going to have a better run out of the S's and into the left-hander. So we're going to try a different move this time, try and get the advantage, and even if he holds it around my outside here or takes to the inside as he has done, I'm hopefully going to have the inside line for the uphill right-hander to come. Here we go then, into the braking zone. We give each other space. I've got a very nice run through the corner. I think I'm quicker on exit as well. We're side by side. I know he's off to my left-hand side here, so I've got to give him room on the outside of the corner, but I've got the high ground this time. I hit the apex. You can see then he's appeared in my rear view mirror, and we've got that move done. So just being a little bit smarter about things this time, rather than trying to get the move done through T1 and T2, actually just holding back a little bit, we've removed his opportunity to then hit me back into the corners that follow, to give me the chance to get in his slipstream. And yes, he defended to the inside, but I was able to confidently hold it around the outside, stay off too much of that curbing, and get a better drive off the corner. And as soon as I get to this stage, I know we're fully alongside, and at this point the next corner is mine, providing I can hold to the apex and Broca doesn't do anything too silly. He slots in behind me, and that's me up into 4th position. We're now going to skip forward by about 6 laps, because the next phase of the race was all about just building a gap to the cars behind me once I had a run in clean air, and I've managed to get Kunitomo back into my sights. The gap up to him was around 4 seconds at one point. It's now down to 1.1, so we are now in the battle for 3rd position. We may yet get an unlikely podium from this race, and starting in P12 on the grid, that is way more than I expected at the beginning of this race. And you can see just by the way that Kunitomo's car is moving around, I wonder if he's used up too much of his tyre life, or he's overheated the tyres, is more likely if he's been sliding through these corners. We've continued to set pretty consistent lap times around the 29.5 through to a 130 flat, and that's allowed me to just be quick enough while not thrashing my car through these corners, and I'm hoping that that's going to pay off in these final 4 laps of the race. We're within 0.6 seconds then of Kunitomo. That's enough to be getting a slipstream down the start-finish straight. We've got a gap back to the recovering Alexandra Perat behind of 1.5 seconds. We're into the braking zone then, on the 50-metre board, get the car down into 2nd gear, and again, look at that, you can see we've got a tighter apex than the driver up ahead. That should give me a decent run down this back straight if I'm able to stick in his slipstream and just close right in to his rear wing. You can see he's aware of that, so he's gone defensive, but he's confident that I'm not close enough to make a move, so he gets back onto the racing line, opens up the corner for himself. But look at how much we're squeezing in then on the rear wing of Kunitomo. Surely I'm going to have to go for this within the final couple of laps at some point, make a move and try and get up into that podium position. I don't want to throw my race away, but at the same time, a chance of a podium on the opening weekend is too much to turn down. Here we go then, we're into the snaking middle section. That's a driver there up ahead running slowly, and actually that's Jacob Fowler. That's the man who was fighting for the lead with Kelly Decker, and he's gone slowly. There must have been an accident of some kind, and I think we're up into 3rd position. Let's take a look on the replay as to what happened. We're following Fowler then. He's just made the move for P1. Kelly Decker following behind very, very closely on corner exit here. They're going to be very close to each other, heading up the hill. Decker's on the outside here, Fowler taking the line through the corner, and then there's just a little bit of contact, and that is going to launch Fowler into a huge, huge accident. And no wonder then he was running slowly. That will be his race essentially over, and I don't think there was anything malicious in this, but it's a really, really unfortunate misjudgment, and Fowler will be furious with that. We rejoin then on lap 17, and yes, I'm up into 3rd position, now fighting for 2nd position with Kunitomo, and there's only less than 2 laps left in this race. So this is it now, the battle for 2nd position is on. I've got to pile a bit more pressure on Kunitomo, try and get alongside him and get up into 2nd position. Decker looks like they've been able to continue on. The gap is 15 seconds. That was a big old hit for Decker, so they've gotten pretty lucky not to be out of this race as well. If that accident had played out slightly differently, this right here could have been the battle for the win. As it is, it's for second position, and you can see I am all over Kunitomo's rear wing here, and he is sliding about all over the place. This is going to give me a chance, and I'm going to dive to the inside, hug the apex, nice and tight, give him space on the outside. We're side by side then, coming out of the corner through the very fast left-hander, down the hill, swooping corner this. We're on the outside into Junkao, very, very tricky place to be. Side by side, he's going to just come across my nose. I had to get out of the throttle there and concede the move, but I am going to be in Kunitomo's slipstream coming up the hill as we're about to get the white flag that tells us we've only got one more racing lap left. It's now or never, it's do or die. We're in the slipstream here then of Kunitomo. He's going to go defensive, is he? No, he's going to move to the racing line. Look at that, that's going to give me the space down the inside. I'm going to have to try and hold the corner, and we've done it. We're up into second position. Just got to get the car through the S's, and yes, what a move. Let's take a look at it on replay. This then is on the previous lap, side by side action, as Kunitomo was clearly struggling with his car there. I'm absolutely sure he's overheated his tyres and couldn't keep to those racing lines, and he was really struggling not to lose the car. We're side by side then through Junkao. He's able to hold the move then, but ultimately, given I was in his slipstream, I was always going to have a chance into T1, and that's exactly how it played out. And in the end, his decision to go back onto the racing line left the door open, and I was able to dive down the inside and make the position mine. And that was the last significant racing action. I was able to pull away from Kunitomo on the final lap of the race, and we come home in second position. What a great way to start the new iRacing season. Confirmation then, we got a big bump to our safety rating and a big bump to our I rating, up to 1.9k now. And these are the full classified results confirming us in second position. A shout out to pole sitter Jonathan Moore, who despite spinning in the S's on lap 1 was able to come back into P5. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for Jacob Fowler, taken out of the lead with just a couple of laps left to go. He finished well down the order. Key to this result for me was not getting wrecked on lap 1, and if you want to know how you can boost your chances of surviving lap 1 on ranked lobbies, check out the video on screen now.